Let's talk a little NFL with our very good friend Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com, author of the book, Father of Mine. Many Atolos have gone ahead and gotten it, and we have the author right here on DFW Sports Station. Welcome back, buddy. It's been a while.
What's happening, guys? How are you? It's been a while. You don't call me. You don't write. You don't ask me to come on. I'm here every Friday. I'm around.
Does that mean that we don't have a lot of drama around the Cowboys? Like, how much of the Cowboys dominated all the hits on your website recently?
Well, yeah, not much. It's been quiet with the Cowboys. I mean, every once in a while there's a little injury scare with Michael Parsons, the Zach Martin holdout, which we all expected to end at some point. That was some news. But for the most part, you know, the Cowboys have kind of blended in with the rest of the noise.
Mike, you always come up with some pretty creative solutions, and this one affected Zeke. Well, maybe Zeke was the last one to actually get paid. Well, what is your solution to this whole running back issue?
Well, there is no solution. That's the problem. The only thing the running backs could do, potentially, come together as a group and commit to boycotting the off-season workouts in 2024 and making it clear to the teams now that that's what they plan to do, holding it together, ensuring that the agents will make sure that the running backs drafted next year or those signed as undrafted free agents will also join in the boycott of the voluntary offseason program. There's no downside for the players if they can hold it together. And then you do that in the hopes of securing a fund that would be separate and apart from the salary cap, separate and apart from team payroll, that would reward running backs based on what they do. There's already a performance-based pay system that pays players extra money based on playing time, regardless of position. This would be a pot of money, and this was an idea Chris Sims had months ago when Austin Eckler was trying to get satisfaction from the Chargers, that this would be a pot of money that would just pay running backs for what they accomplish. Yards, touchdowns, receptions, playing time, etc., to supplement the low-end salary. Because the problem is most of these guys do their best work when they're making their least money. And Zeke is one of the ones who got it right. He held out after 3 years, got a great contract from the Cowboys. So great the Cowboys would have torn it up a year ago if they could have, but the contract kept them from doing it. That's all you can really do as an individual. Try to get paid after 3 years if you're a great running back. The play for all running backs would be to force the NFL to come up with some way to pay them for what they do while they're doing it.
On that question about the running back contracts and the solution for it, do the Zeke and Dalvin Cook deals in the last week, do you think that registers as a win for the running back market? Like they keep clearly are holding out. It definitely feels like publicly, privately, on, off the record, the PA is putting pressure on the position group and the stars at it to make sure they're getting their money. But do you think that the Cook and Elliott deals are a win for the progress of running back deals, or is it just more of the same?
No, I think it's a loss. I think it underscores where the market is, and if anything, it knocks it down. When the reports that, and we know how this goes, somebody from the players' camp leaks to the information robots exactly what they want to be reported, and when the report is up to $6 million with no specifics, that tells you it's not a great contract for Ezekiel Elliott. And what did Dalvin Cook do just a couple of hours after that? He took the offer that had been on the table from the Jets for a while, and we got the full Dalvin Cook contract. There's a lot in there to protect the Jets. You know, he's got a potential suspension looming under the personal conduct policy from a domestic violence situation that spawned a lawsuit a couple of years ago. They're protected against that. I think he was waiting for something better than what the Jets were offering. And once Zeke took his deal from the Patriots, I suspect Dalvin Cook realized, I better take what I can while I can. And my next piece of advice right after that was, hey, Josh Jacobs, you should take the $10.1 million that the Raiders have on the table under the franchise tag before they realize they can just remove it and save that money. And, guys, I've been saying this for the past month or so, ever since the running back thing became an issue. The smartest move by any one person, team, coach, whatever, the entire offseason was Tony Pollard taking the 10-1 back in the middle of March when he saw which way the wind was blowing with the running back market.
Mike Florio, author of Father of Mine, ProFootballTalk.com, Football Night in America here on Shan and RJ. So the number one all-time most viewed YouTube clip in the history of the radio station is you talking about Michael Irvin's recent legal issue. Irvin looks to be out at First Take. Shannon Sharp is going to join ESPN twice a week. What are you hearing about Mike, and why isn't this thing settled and over with?
It is such a strange situation. Every once in a while, someone will report, and it reminds me of the old Chevy Chase, Generalissimo Francisco Franco is still dead. Michael Irvin is still suspended by NFL Network. At some point, you got to end this. At some point, you got to move forward. You got to cut the guy loose, or you got to put him back on the air. And I'd like to think before the regular season that would be the case. Who knows? Are they trying to negotiate an exit? Do they not know what to do? It's all one big mess. And he sued Marriott in the aftermath of the incident that had him suspended from NFL Network and also after that ESPN. At some point, you got to look at your contract with NFL Network and you got to say, I have rights here. And you can't just put me on ice indefinitely. You have to do something with me, cut me loose, put me back to work. But we just can't be in this limbo that has now lasted for months. So it's strange. And I feel bad for Michael. Look, I think that we don't know what was said. And even though the video meshes with the idea he didn't physically do anything, there's still a chance he may have said some things that caused this whole thing to happen. And we'll see how that all plays out. But at some point, NFL Network just has to make a decision. You either employ the guy or you don't. You put him on the air or you don't. But you can't just put him on ice forever.
Is he in position? Like, who's the favorite right now to win out between him and the hotel?
Well, I think that, look, there's a long way to go in the litigation. And I think, much will be learned in the discovery process where you get the documents and you're able to question witnesses. Did the story change? Was it embellished? Was it exaggerated? There was that weird stretch early on where they didn't want to give up the video and it felt like they were hiding something. What have they done behind the scenes to maybe play with, and I'm not saying they have, but it's part of what you learn through the litigation process. Is there any evidence that people were playing with the facts to try to strengthen the case or pivot away from maybe a weak point? Those are all things that a good lawyer will be charged with trying to figure out as the litigation goes forward. And once you know all that, that's when you can start to frame up how strong or how weak your case is if you go to trial.
Talking with Mike Florio here from Pro Football Talk. Mike, when you look at the fact that the Cowboys have gotten, Trayvon Diggs done, they obviously had their hand kind of forced, had to get something new done with Zach Martin. And the discussion from Jerry Jones has been about, hey, we've got to pay Micah Parsons coming up. There's been little talk about the impending Dak Prescott figure and how large that's going to be next year and how they're going to have to do something to work around it. I guess I'm a little surprised this isn't something that got done before training camp or we'd hear more buzz about it here during training camp. Are you surprised that the Cowboys haven't done something to massage that number, do something, get an extension done? Or do you think they really are looking at this as, hey, this is evaluation time. Let's see how he looks in Mike McCarthy's new offense?
The problem is very simple. They have to figure out what they're going to pay Dak Prescott on this next phase of the contract. And you look at how aggressive he was, and the Cowboys only have themselves to blame. When the window opened on a long-term deal for Dak Prescott after his third season, they decided not to do it. Then after his fourth season, what did they do? They applied the franchise tag. They rode that out for a year. And then when it was time to apply the second franchise tag, that was when they worked out a deal that was very favorable to the player. I remember when Patrick Mahomes did his deal, and I was able to digest the details and understand it. My first reaction was Dak Prescott's deal is tremendously better because he's getting $40 million a year, and he's only under contract for 4 years. And the way it's structured, they can't tag him on the back end. And the way it's structured, they have to extend it after the third season, or they're going into a year where he could walk away after 2024. So I think the challenge is taking the deal that he has. It's just like what happened back in 2020 when the deal was done, 21, whatever it was. I'm getting my years mixed up. But you have to give him an offer that gets him to trade in what he has. And what he has right now is good salaries each of the next 2 years and a path to the open market. What do you give him now to get him to trade in the deal that he's currently holding? And unless you give him something better than what he currently has, what reason does he have to trade it back in? So I'm not surprised. They're kind of in a box here. And I've made this suggestion before, and people lose their minds about it, but there's a broader philosophical discussion that the Cowboys need to have about whether or not Dak is the long-term guy. If you're going to have to pay him top of the market to keep him around, maybe there's a point where you go in a different direction. The Vikings are wrestling with that right now with Kirk Cousins. He's entering the final year of his contract with no extension and no way to franchise tag him. There's a point where you're paying the guy more than what you're getting out of him. And if Dak Prescott is looking for $50 million plus per year, it's fair for the Cowboys to at least take a step back and say, are we getting value if we pay him that much money?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of this narrative that's sprung up recently? And some of it's, I'm sure, just national debate chatter. But when you see the fight, the back and forth with Trayvon Diggs and Dak Prescott at camp, and then it's Shady McCoy saying, oh, Dak's not a leader, and then Skip Bayless saying, oh, I've heard chatter that Dak is jealous or was jealous of Micah Parsons and threatened by him, and he's kind of losing control of the locker room. Where do you think this, are we just running out of Dak Prescott narratives nationally that now it's like, okay, well, I guess we'll just take on the leadership and he doesn't have a firm hand on this locker?
Now, I think we're always looking for stuff to talk about, but we need to put it in a broader perspective. It's very normal. It's very natural for there to be back and forth on the practice field between offensive and defensive players. If that's not happening, you have a problem. It's a competitive environment, and we see the T-shirts all the time, iron sharpens iron. Well, it can be an ugly process as it's happening. And you have guys yelling and showing each other up. It happened with the Patriots. I was with Devin McCourty in Canton for the Hall of Fame game right after the Diggs and Prescott stuff came to light. And McCourty started telling stories about Tom Brady at practice and how he'd yell and scream, and they'd yell and scream at him. And that's just the way it is when you're out there trying to make yourself as good as you can be among your peers, among your teammates as you're getting ready to go take on opponents. So I think it's just the Cowboys, number one, and number two, we got a lot of hours to fill. We got a lot of stuff to write. The clicks don't click themselves, baby. But within that context, I think it's important to be responsible and realistic and not just grab low-hanging fruit and make it into something that it isn't.
Are you enjoying – you had a training camp fight solution that you wrote about the other day, right?
Well, I just think that it's strange to me that the NFL micromanages everything that players do during a game on the field. And if you look at somebody the wrong way, they throw a flag for taunting because they don't want that guy to be pissed off and retaliate later. But at these joint practices, the league doesn't care. It's open season. I mean, last year, Aaron Donald could have fractured someone's skull when he swung a helmet, a Bengals helmet. He swung it so hard that when it collided with another Bengals helmet being worn by a Bengals player, it flattened the thing. And, yesterday there's a helmet flying through the air in Patriots-Packers practice. Danny Johnson of the Commanders has a rotator cuff injury because he was slammed to the ground by Mark Andrews. There was a Jets defensive backs coach who got carted off because he got injured in one of these practice fights. And didn't the Cowboys in Irvine at one point have like a fight with the Raiders or the Rams that got up against the fans?
Yep.
Like somebody's going to get seriously hurt, and the NFL is going to say then, oh, we had no idea this could happen. Really? Why are you ignoring this? Why is it okay? Why is the league completely sticking its head in the sand when these kind of behaviors that we're seeing at these practices would never be tolerated in a game? I don't get it. And it is just a matter of time before somebody ends up with a serious injury.
Are you enjoying Hard Knocks?
I never enjoy Hard Knocks. I enjoyed Quarterback.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Quarterback. Look, they call these things documentaries. When they start the show, it comes up HBO documentaries. The one thing you have to know when you tune in and watch it, it's never a documentary. It's never the truth. It's an infomercial. It's what they want to show you. And it's better than nothing, but yeah, episode 2 wasn't great. And that guy that they had doing the magic tricks, acting like he could read minds.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Scam.
That was the best part of it.
That tells you how bad it was. That was the best part. He's a showman. He's a magician, sleight of hand, and some very low-level mental manipulation. He planted, when Michael Carter said any number he would wear would be number 10, he planted that 10 in his brain the way he counted through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He planted it in his brain. I knew he was going to say 10. based upon the way he set it up.
If you love football, if you love the mob, you got Pro Football Talk, Football Night in America, and the book is Father of Mine, Mike Florio, here on Shan and RJ. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.